We are live, perhaps. We shall see. I might have to send out the link. Let's see here. How do I send out the old link? Share. Copy link. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. 28 seconds in. All right. Is there a way for me to see the chat? Okay, perhaps just no one's chatting. I don't know. Okay. I'm doing my best here. I'm wearing this hilarious shirt, this hilarious hat. Okay, I can see the chat. I've never done this before. I didn't know that the chat is over the image. John Razimus Hughston here, live chatting. Luckily, this extends to my Wi-Fi. Hopefully, I'm not Wi-Fi-less. Let me just check super quick. Hey, Brando, how's it going? My Wi-Fi is connected. I have kind of a interesting setup with the camera. Hopefully it doesn't fall and crash and burn. Whew, it's very hot. I got a water here, stay hydrated. It's really hot lately. And I don't have any AC. No AC. Whew, zero AC. I don't know why. Got fans though. It's got a bunch of fans. Thank you. Yeah, the shirt says Expose 2020. And it's from the future. See this hat? It's from the future. So I didn't have any title for the video yet because I don't know what I'm going to talk about. We will see. Not sure. Mysterious Ghost Investigation. I'm working on the theme song for MGI, which is going to be MGIC, Mysterious Ghost Investigation Crew. And yeah, I think it's pretty good, but you never know what's good and bad. You have to have other people listening to it to give you feedback. But I want to rework, I want to re-record it. I want to try to get it in true stereo, recording it with 2 microphones. It's just a fun thing, A dedicated follower of the channel sent me a beat, literally like 2 years ago at this point. And so he said, do whatever you want with it. And he even made a song. I'll do something with both of the songs he sent me. It's very nice, very happy that he sent me those. So I've been writing lyrics to go with the beat, with the music that he created. And collaborative effort. I want it to be a good theme song for the MGIC crew. I do look at local ghost hunters, and I'm trying to see anyone that I can collab with, other ghost investigation crews, and I don't see much of anything. I bought a Gary Galka ghost box, and I planned to use it for like months. So I had this box for like 3 months, right? And I'm like, I don't want to turn it on in my house. I don't want to hear EVPs in my house. I guess these aren't really technically, are they EVPs? If it's from a ghost box, it's kind of, see, an EVP is when you turn on a regular recorder and you hear something, which I've recorded, a number of EVPs. I don't have a huge library of EVPs that I've recorded because I don't professionally go out every weekend to exotic haunted places, but I have a good, I think, couple dozen pretty decent EVPs. I went to the grist mill, and the spirit said something everywhere, and it's pretty clear to me. It was pretty clear to me that it said everywhere, and immediately had an interpretation because I didn't hear it at the time. When the EVP took place at the grist mill, it said, first of all, I didn't hear it, other than I heard a noise inside this totally abandoned, totally locked. It's just a historical monument at this point. No one goes in and out of it except for the Parks Department, and except for anyone that has a key, which is someone associated with the Parks Department. I think the local high school might have a historical society, and one of the teachers might have the key. So very few people have the key. There's like one key at the Parks Department, one key at the high school, something to that effect. But I never knew there was a key at the high school. I went to that high school, I never knew the building existed, because it was dedicated in 1950, and the students in 1950, 1960 knew about it. But fast forward to more modern times, none of my class were ever taught the existence of Home of the Pirates. Why were we the pirates? Because this building was built by a former pirate. It's a pretty separated. I mean, the guy didn't have gunfights out of this grist mill. It was literally a corn mill to grind corn and make food for the locals. That's all it was. Except there's a fulling mill attached, and the fulling mill was to, I guess, make clothes or something to that effect. I originally thought it was a pool or a water supply. It's a separation mechanism of antiquity where they separated this from that. And so I didn't know. I didn't even know that the first time I went there. I thought it was a swimming pool, you know. But I hear everywhere, at the time, at the grist mill, I heard a creak. I heard probably what sounded like a pebble hitting the wall. Very subtle sound of something like, and I'm like, what's that? The camera picked up the EVP. The camera picked up the voice. Perhaps the voice was so subtle, I couldn't hear it at the time. I didn't hear anything. I played it back. It said something, something, everywhere. And I know exactly, first of all, I was surprised upon playing it back that the spirit spoke perfect English. I was surprised. Even during the years of going there, I thought maybe the spirit's going to speak Spanish. I didn't know. It seemed to react when I said Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is technically Spanish, you know, for the angels. So I didn't know. But it spoke perfect English, something, something, everywhere. I know, my opinion at least, I can tell you. I think the spirit was saying, so you got to understand, this is a spirit showing up at the grist mill the same time I'm showing up at the grist mill. And I've always had this theory that perhaps it's not even haunting the grist mill. It's just showing up when I show up. And yeah, I'm always open-minded to different possibilities, but I know for a fact it's a legitimate spirit. But the spirit, something, something everywhere. If I had to guess, this is my immediate thought, and it's still what I believe is the most likely interpretation of what the spirit was saying. With one word, I got like a huge amount of information. That's what spirits do tend to do on occasion, is give you a lot of information in the fewest amount of words possible, because they know that the barrier between the dimensions is thick enough where they can barely get 2 words in. You get an EVP device or just a recorder, you get a spirit box, and you could play it for hours. You could have it on for hours and hours and hours and only get 2 words. So I think the more intelligent spirits, they do try to make the most of those 2 words. And the word that came through strongest was everywhere. I think the spirit was saying this: you can communicate with us everywhere. You don't have to be coming to the grist mill year after year. So I started investigating the grist mill, I think 2018 on a serious level. 2018, 19, 20. No, I never went there in 2020. See, 2020 was such a chaotic year. I never went there in 2020. So I investigated in 2018, 2019. I skipped 2020 altogether, and 2021. So I've been going there for 3 years pretty consistently. Last time I was there, I told the spirit, hey, 2020 was kind of a chaotic year. I had to wear masks all the time. Luckily, we don't have to wear masks at the time being. I'm glad about that. But, stay safe, do what you got to do. But I'm glad my ears don't get the stuff with the rubber bands behind my ears, It gets painful after a while, but we're getting over it. I think everything's going to go back to normal. We will see what happens. The Spirit said everywhere. I think it was saying, you can communicate with me everywhere. You can communicate with me in your bedroom. No thanks, I'm good. I'll be only communicating at the grist mill, thank you very much. See, I don't want to have a shrine in my backyard. I don't want to have a setup like my Corners of Rooms experiment in my room. I don't recommend investigations in your own room, but some people might be offended by that. They might say, oh, my spirit guide is in my room every night. Do your own thing. Do what you got to do. As for me, I had a setup which was more scientific based, not religion based. I didn't have any candles with religious artifacts. I literally had black and white lines with ghost hunting equipment. That's it. And cameras. It was as scientific as I could get it. And 24 hours after the first Corners of Rooms experiment in 2018, you can see that old video. Doesn't have many views, has like 2,000 views or something, 1,500 views. Very low views. In YouTube, if you have 1,500 views on a video, that's not a lot. Okay, viral. I've never had a viral video. A viral video is officially viral when it has 1 million views. I would say a semi-viral video has 250,000 to 500,000 views is a semi-viral video. You have to have at least 250,000 views on a video for even someone to see it. My Tommy Wiseau video is my most viral video I've ever made. I think it has close to 250,000 views. And I was just posting randomly a comment to someone on Twitter, and someone in that conversation said, hey, are you the Tommy Wiseau video guy? So like I got one reaction from a random conversation because of that 250,000 views. Out of 250,000 people, one person. So, that's just kind of how YouTube is. They recommend you here, they recommend you there. I just read an article about Mozilla did a research on the this and that, but I don't want to go into detail on that. Share my videos if you like them. If you don't like them, don't share them. No big deal. I've definitely been the anti asking for. Let's just put it this way. I read a comment. It's pretty funny. The most obscene phrase in the English language is smash that like button. And I've never asked for that. I do complain about it sometimes, but I don't ask for it. Don't like. I see 4 people like this video. I appreciate that. Okay, anyone in the chat? My screen's very dark, but you have any questions or comments? If I didn't mention you, it's because I probably couldn't see it. My screen's really dark now. The sun is causing it to be dark, but I'll focus and I'll pay attention and I'll see if you have any comments. I will be sending a response. Man. Any chance for more Hoax Hunter? Yeah, most definitely. Some doctor, there's a doctor subscribed to my channel. He said, I'm waiting for Bob Lazar Part 2. And that's technically, I wore this shirt in the Bob Lazar Part 1 in certain parts of that video. I wanted to make Bob Lazar Part 2, but because it goes so dark, it goes a little bit dark. It has a little bit of a dark twist. And people don't like the dark stuff. They like the fluffy stuff of, wow, you're touching an anti-gravity reactor? Whoa, that blows my mind, man. They don't want to hear the dark truth on the history of the guy. They don't want to hear the dark truth. They don't want to hear the dark stuff. But everyone's asking for Part 2. I mean, a couple dozen people here and there over however many. I posted it like a year plus ago. Had to be like a year and a half ago. I don't know. I will make Hoax Hunter Bob Lazar Part 2. I have all the files. We're talking gigabytes of mostly just me, filming Part 2. So I have some of Part 2 already filmed. But It's probably only 25% done. I need to fill in the gaps. I need to film 75% more. I have a model. I bought the official S4 Bob Lazar model. Flying saucer. I got to put it together. Man, but I've never put a model together. I'm not a model guy, but I looked at it and it's just two plates. You glued two plates together. So out of all models, it's literally looks like the easiest model to possibly assemble. The hardest part is just going to be getting cardboard and spray painting these plates silver before you glue them together. Unless you do that after. Now, I'm thinking it would be easier to spray the sides before you glue them. I think his sport model was matte. I think it was matte finish silver. So I'm going to get some matte finish silver spray paint. I know. Why go to the extent? I bought a Alien Autopsy game from the 90s, a super obscure game with a giant rubber autopsy alien, kind of like Operation, but it's a huge rubber alien and you pull out alien organs. Why do I get these props and go to these extents? Because, I go over the top. I want to explain Bob Lazar describing the organs inside of the alien he saw in these top secret files. And, I want some stock footage. I want to show something. Obviously, I can't show an alien being abducted or being worked on, autopsied. But, I could show this rubber obscure game from the 90s I never knew existed. And so there will be part 2 in that Hoax Hunter series, Bob Lazar part 2. There's probably going to be part 3. Yep, Brandon Young seems to be here. Appreciate all of the positivity. We got to stay positive. I have to admit, I post a lot of negative stuff, all right? I post negative stuff way too regularly. Napoleon Hill, one of my heroes, Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, and I've never used a single one of the principles for money, obviously. Otherwise, perhaps I would be more wealthy. But I've used the principles exclusively for positive mental attitude, get out of negative situations. There's too much negativity in the world. So I'm going to try to dedicate myself to posting positive stuff. Positive, 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 positive. Positive begets positivity. Negative begets negativity. And sometimes you get stuck in that loop of never-ending negativity. Social media can put you in that loop. Don't worry about social media. Even yesterday, some guy was particularly angry with me. I could tell you yesterday, some guy threatened to beat me up in the parking lot. This happened to me in real life. Yesterday, some guy said he's going to beat me up in the parking lot. And I don't know, most people don't know me on a personal level, but I walked up to the guy and I said, I'm not afraid of you. Not afraid of you, guy. I was almost saying, let's put your words into action. See what happens. I don't want to fight. I'm not a violent person. I like to be anti-violence. I really respect the Buddha, the message the Buddha left us, whether you believe the Buddha existed or not. That message of positivity and Jesus, he left a message of turn the other cheek. And as much as I want to turn the other cheek, this world is pretty tough, and if you let people step on you, they take advantage of that situation, and they'll just step on you and step on you and step on you. That's what I've experienced in my life personally. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not afraid of you. I told him I'm not afraid of him. And hopefully I don't see that guy again, but if I do, you got to stand up for yourself sometime. I could tell you a story in high school. A story in high school. I can only remember one fight from high school. One single fight. I was in the gym. It was lunchtime. I finished my lunch. I went in the gym to shoot some hoops, play some basketball. Big fan of basketball. There wasn't any game going. It was just a half court, randomly throwing the ball in type of situation. And I was waiting my turn. I just walked in the gym, and I was standing against the gym wall, just watching them shoot some hoops to see when this sort of a game was going to end. And I was just going to get a ball and start shooting. I guess there was limited basketballs, so I was just looking for a basketball. And this kid, who's particularly bigger than me, it's always the big kid against the little kid. I wasn't that little, but from his perspective, I was probably an easy target. I was actually pretty skinny in high school. In high school, I was very skinny. So I'm standing against the wall, looking for a basketball, and this big guy, who's easily 5 times my size, he walks up to me. And I don't know what's going on. I've never even seen this kid in my life. And with the full weight of his body, he smashes me into the wall. Now, I'm standing against a padded wall. It's, I don't know why the walls were padded, but this particular gymnasium had padded walls where I was standing. So he smashes me into the padded walls. And to be fair, it didn't hurt that bad because of the padding. But at the same time, some dude smashing his full weight into me. And I was like, whoa, what the heck is your problem, dude? Why'd you do that? And he couldn't give me any answer. He never had any conversation with me, never met him in my life. But I had to stand up for myself. I stood up for myself. I said, what's going on? He's like, let's take this into the lobby. Or whatever he said. This was years and years and years ago, so I'm not going to be able to quote it from memory. All I remember is he smashed me into the wall. We go in the lobby, and he's like, let's go. And I socked him in the mouth as a full response to getting smashed into the wall. I mean, it was literally seconds. This transpired in seconds, probably in 30 seconds. And of course, no one saw the smashing into the wall. They only saw me, do the old defensive. But he was in a stance ready to knock me out. And of course, he has braces. All right. So of course, the braces and getting punched. Just heads up: don't punch people with braces. It doesn't end well for either one of you because people saw, the guy get hurt. They only saw one side of the story. I had to go home. I got in trouble for defending myself. And I was given, I would say, pretty bad info. The info I got from the principal was, oh, you can't do that unless it's 1 second later. You can't wait 30 seconds. I can't wait 30 seconds to defend myself? Come on, that's BS. So there's always going to be people twisting into the spiral into negativity. But I never went out of my way to bother anyone in high school. I'm sure people went out of the way to try to bother me, but I just didn't care. I didn't mind. Except for that one instance where I defended myself. I recommend people defend themselves in situations like that. But then again, I see these protesters here and these protesters there. I would steer clear of any protests on any side and any perspective, pro or negative, because you never know. They look dangerous. The aftermath looks dangerous. In a situation like that, it's a totally different thing. But getting bullied in high school, man, that happened. He was just one big kid that thought I was an easy target. So this guy yesterday thought I was an easy target. Probably my hair. I could show you my hair. See, my hair looks pretty ridiculous because I'm trying to find a barber that can cut my hair properly. Every time I go to a barber and I say, be delicate with this area right here, I don't know if you've seen photos, but I'm not growing hair so hot right over here. And I could go into detail, but I'd rather not. All I can say is this: when you tell a barber to not cut an area, for some reason they only cut that area. You tell them to not, to take it easy on this area, they'll get a number one razor, cutter, shaver, and they'll only focus in the area you said not to cut 50 times in a row, no matter how many different barbers you go to. So at this point, I want to get a Flowbee and George Clooney it and just cut my own hair. But Flowbees, because of the pandemic, are so popular these days. I can't get a cheap Flowbee, like $200. I can't afford no $200 for a Flowbee. But apparently that's what George Clooney has been doing for years, cutting his own hair. He probably has been cutting his own hair for different reasons. Probably because he's a celebrity. Probably doesn't want the fanfare of walking into a cuts for less because he's George Clooney. You know what I mean? So he probably has totally different reasons for all these years cutting his own hair with a Flowbee. Trauma in life triggers them. Yeah, I know. Different people, you got to look at from their perspective as well. But yesterday, some guy threatened me. And I literally didn't do anything. So I was like, I'm not afraid of you. I wanted him to know I'm not afraid of him, just in case I see that guy again. But at the same time, if I see that guy again, I'm going to tell him I'm a nonviolent person. I don't condone violence. I defend myself on occasion, but I don't recommend violence. I recommend peace, positivity, and if you give a positive message out enough, hopefully you become more enlightened. Every creed, culture, skin color, race, positivity. Be positive towards everyone, of every background, no matter what their political persuasion is, their religious persuasion, the culture they grew up in, the country they came from. Skin color doesn't really mean much when it comes to everyone is the same on the inside. Everyone has that same divine spark of positivity. I think everyone's born with a conscience. I think everyone's born with the divine spark of positivity. And just as you can see with, let's say, a dog that is raised to be a positive, loving, peaceful dog. You could say I'm a mutt. I'm a mixed mutt of different backgrounds. If you treat a cat, a dog, whatever, positively, that dog's gonna wag its tail. It's gonna be happy. And you see totally innocent canines become junkyard dogs and they'll bark at everyone and hate everyone and chew up their toys to shreds. It's a stressed out dog if it chews up his toys to shreds. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard, and I think that's generally the case. If your dog shreds the toys into nothing, it has a little bit of stress going on in its life, But if you raise that animal, I'm not comparing humans to animals. I'm just saying some people, they have a hard life, and you got to look at from their perspective sometimes, Got to put yourself in other people's shoes. You got to have empathy for other people. So everyone has to work on empathy. Of course, I have to work on empathy. It's a positive attribute, but there are negative people that see empathy as a weakness. You just got to get past that negativity and post positivity. So as I was saying, I want to focus on positivity. It's like, why hasn't my this and that here and there been posted? It's because sometimes you get wrapped up in life. I moved to this location. You'll see I've never posted a video from this location. So I did move legitimately, and I was filming a video in this exact location probably 1 month ago, and I'm talking about demons and a bunch of demon and I'm talking about Roger Morneau's story. So I am still working on the Roger Morneau story of fallen angels, whether you believe in that or not. I'm just repeating the guy's story. Most of the video is just going to be me repeating the guy's story and seeing if there's any concrete data to support what he's saying, and throw away that which cannot be substantiated, and come to your own conclusion at the end. I know a lot of people are skeptical about Roger's story. Some people are extremely puzzled that me, as the hoax hunter, would even be interested in a story which is clearly some type of propaganda, right? Uh, okay, all right. Apologize. I pushed a button trying to read someone's comment, and oh my goodness, the screen went blank. I can't even read. I was trying to get the comments to last longer than a split second. No, nobody got muted. I can see and hear you all. Um, some people do go into my channel and say, you're wrong about this movie review. The movie was a masterpiece and you totally didn't get the point. So there's always going to be a critic, couch potato critic there, criticizing from the armchair critic. And you got to get used to that. Did you play Diablo 2 way back around the dupe hack with the Herodic Cube? Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Diablo 1 when Diablo 1 first released. We're talking week 1, if not day 1. I think it was within the first 1 or 2 or 3 days, Diablo 1 was released into the software, etc., which is where I got my games at the mall. And I played Diablo 1 when it was brand new. And a similar thing happened with Diablo 1 that happened with Diablo 2. And I played Diablo 2 since day 1. So I was a huge Diablo gaming fan. And I've noticed a lot of people call it Diablo. And it ticks me off. It's Diablo. It's not Diablo. So, these people are Spanish majors from the opposite spectrum. So I didn't learn too much in Spanish school, but I learned the word Diablo. Anyway, Diablo 2, Herodic Cube, duping. Yeah, sure. I knew the Herodic Cube dupe trick. In Diablo 1, there was the potion dupe trick. You dropped an item on the ground, and you had to super quickly pick up a potion and drop a potion and pick up the item before the potion hit the ground, or something to that effect. But the second people discovered you can dupe like the best sword in the game just by dropping a potion, picking up the potion, picking up the item. You had to do it in a certain order. It was different than the Herodic Cube dupe, but that original first dupe with Diablo 1 was pretty funny. You play for 2 months, you get like the best axe you've ever seen. Oh my gosh, this axe is amazing. You dupe it. There wasn't much benefit to duping, really, other than you just sell the item to the NPC. So you sell the super expensive item to the NPC over and over, unlimited free gold. So that was the main benefit for that. And Diablo 2, yeah, I played the online ladder. I guess it's called ladder. And they wipe your character after so much inactivity. But I had a super high level paladin in Diablo 2, super high level paladin. I guess that's what I focused on in Diablo 1. I guess he was a paladin, yeah. I won't talk about Diablo very much, but so when Diablo 1 first launched, there was a lot of trash talk and the Battle.net it was a live chat, the Battle.net live chat main channel. And these two guys were like, I could take you, I could take you, I could take you, I could take you. I said, yeah, right. So I create a game. They enter my game. We go to the first easy dungeon you can get to. And I have a paladin with like max thorns. And thorns is where the first attack they hit you with bounces off of you and hits them. So basically they're attacking themselves. So these two guys attack me both at the same time, and they both die immediately with their own attacks bouncing off of them. That was hilarious. And what's funny about that is it was month 1 of the game, month 1, before the trainers came out. Oh my gosh. Month 2 is probably when the trainers first came out, and everyone was a level 100, max everything, cheater. Everyone cheated. I didn't cheat. I did download the trainer and look at it. I was like, wow, this is defeating the purpose of grinding and having fun. And it wasn't a very grindy game. It's, 1 week you could have a pretty good tough character. But I'm really looking forward to Diablo 2 Remastered. They remastered Diablo 2 to look what looks like Diablo 3 to me. And Diablo 4 is coming out as well. So that stupid mobile game for Diablo that Blizzard came out with, and the huge negative response to a mobile app, what? Hopefully they did it right. They actually remastered Diablo 2, and they're bringing Diablo 4 into the franchise. My least favorite Diablo, other than the app, I never even touched the app because it's, someone pointed out the app isn't even anything to do with Diablo. It's just a reskinned app that already existed. They think the consumer is dumb, so they'll just reskin a game that already exists with Diablo-looking stuff. I think that's what Diablo, the app, was. But Diablo 3 is my least favorite Diablo. I did play Diablo 3 from beginning to end like 3 times. You can beat it on different difficulties. I beat it on all difficulties to the point where you come back and you beat the same bosses for infinity, and it defeats the purpose. It gets pretty boring. It gets kind of old. So I do have a collector's edition guy on Diablo 3 I haven't logged into for probably a year straight because it's not fun. But I'm really looking forward to Diablo 2 Remastered, Diablo 4. I bought the Diablo 2 soundtrack vinyl, which was released by an unofficial company called Bind on Pickup. Bind on Pickup. So Bind on Pickup Records, it's a phrase in the game. If some items, super powerful items, drop from a monster, and the second you touch them, they bind on your guy. You gotta go? Okay, have fun. Thank you thanks Vic for the support. You're a good follower and commenter on the channel. Appreciate it. It happens to be my day off today, which is pretty rare. All right, thanks Vic. Have a good one. I know this is a random day to post a video. My days off are super random. I'm gonna try to ask for more connecting days off, but I worked yesterday, I work tomorrow. And it gets a little frustrating after a while. That's one of the reasons why I don't have the Roger Morneau documentary finished. But also, I guess, the response to the Roger Morneau. So what do you guys think about the Roger Morneau story? Positive or negative, constructive or whatever the case. Lilith is coming to Diablo 3. The game. Well, there are Haitian. Oh my gosh! Rest in peace to the former leader of Haiti. That's a sad story there. But in Diablo 2, you go to the Act 2, I believe it is. Is it Act 2 or is it Act 3? They have I pointed that out in the video. They have the Voodoo, Vives or Veves, however you want to pronounce it. It's pronounced many different ways. Even Voodoo is pronounced a million different ways. The reason Voodoo is pronounced a million different ways is because it's Vodon, Voodoo, and then a lady brought it to America and called it Voodoo. So Voodoo is technically a watered down version. She brought it to the United States to be kind of a, you take it to a hippie shop selling crystals and incense, and there's a mojo bag, and you could buy this mojo bag, and it's just harmless voodoo, or is it? So it was kind of a gimmick. It was kind of a marketing gimmick. She brought it to the United States and called it voodoo. So I think she's called the Queen of Voodoo. But yeah, there are those Vives in Diablo 2. I looked him up. I tried to match him up. I did sort of match him up with some of the Vodon gods in that religion. And I don't think even the Diablo artists who put it in knew which Haitian voodoo gods that they were. I don't think they knew anything. They just thought it was a cool decorational thing to slap on the jungle theme, which doesn't even seem to match really. Occult in Diablo. I mean, Roger Morneau, whether you believe his story or not, he said the fallen angels, they like, whether you take this as literal or figurative, a story or whatever, it has the same effect. If demons exist, if negative entities exist, which I have had experience with that, I don't think they're gonna mind you killing a red, pitched, demon, horned guy in a video game. I don't think they're gonna mind it. Negative entities. Are they going to put any occult? Are they going to inspire people to put any occult information in there? I mean, I have to admit, my nephew, he plays a lot of video games. And when Diablo 2 introduced the new class of Necromancer, he was big into that class. It was his favorite class to choose from in Diablo 2, it's a Necromancer. And it did cause him to go to Wikipedia and type in, what's this necromancy thing? Is there any real spells? But he's never researched it on any level, luckily. But I can say I did, probably my first introduction to the concept of necromancy was it predates Diablo. And the creator said, Diablo's a lot